Do you need a light on them?
No, I think I'm okay. So first time you ever saw an orange?
Yeah, it's
In Poland.
I was probably 3.5, 4 years old. You know, and I remember being in a bed yet. You know, like a kid gets up and in a bed yet. It was still there like a crib. That must have been. I was pretty small because it was like a crib. And I remember only they gave me the orange. And I never saw. You know, I guess it ate it. You know, boy, it was so good. Oh man. But that was very seldom, though, you know, gosh. When he came, it was maybe once a year or so. So if he did come, he would bring something kind of unusual, you know.
That was who?
My mother's brother.
Mother's brother?
Yeah.
His name?
Oh, I forget now. Wisniewski was the last name, but first name I don't remember.
Where did he get the orange? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know. He came... whatever, I don't know, because he came from a bigger city, someplace in Poland, or even, you know, from Germany or something like that. He would bring that, you know, stuff like that. Cool. But we didn't have, you know, you went on a market in our little town, you never saw oranges on it. Right. When I sometimes went with mother, you know, you never saw oranges on the display. It was apple, pears, and cherries and all that stuff, you know, but not oranges or some other fruit that you don't see too often. And orange, of course, now he is, you know, over there, a big deal, you know.
What? So what was your typical breakfast like? Do you remember that? On the farm in Poland.
Just butter and bread. That's it. That was the big, you know, some homemade jam. That's it. You know.
Butter, bread, and homemade jam.
Yeah, you'd see it. Yeah, that's just you know.
You had sausages. You used to.
No, we didn't. Mother didn't go for sausages like that. You know,
well,
that was a treat. That was on Sundays.
Well, the stuff you used to make the.
Yeah, the homemade proper most of the time. You very seldom bought. Sausage from the store, from the you know, like cut sausage or sandwich sausage. You know. Very seldom we bought that, you know. So if we had our own, but sometimes when they killed the pig, it would last 6 months or so because everything was either smoked. Most of it was smoked, so they could hang there for.
Where would you hang it?
The cellar, you know.
In the cellar? Under the house had a cellar?
Under the house, yes. That's where
so it was cooler?
Yeah, cooler, and that's where the potatoes and everything was kept, you know, like the harvest potatoes that were harvested, they were brought and put it under the house. You know, there are tons of it, naturally, you know, it was a big, huge area. But that's the potato. And any meats or something that you wanted to keep cooler, it was down there, you know.
What was that? Was it brick or dirt? Or?
Well, that was, you know, that was the foundation, as far as I remember, was just a brick, you know, like cement type of thing. It was, yeah, that was it. But then it was all wooden house, you know,
right.
lumber. That was all wood house. It's like you see up
right.
here. That's the one.
And the roof was it?
That was a
thatched?
No, it wasn't patch. That was no.
Not
we didn't
thatched.
have a patch. No, we have a tile. You know, this curved tile like this, red tile. No.
And your dad built the whole thing.
Oh no, I don't know, because my dad got the farm from my grandfather.
Oh.
And I don't know I don't really know how far back it goes. You know, really. Because when the Russians came over to Poland, I remember my grandfather telling stories about when the Russian soldiers came in, you know, and they would just kind of help themselves with almost anything naturally, you know how that is. And
before the Second World War?
That was Second World War, yeah.
That was the Second World War.
Yes, yeah. So he used to tell, you know, how rough they were and everything, you know, but he got the farm from that, you know, and so I don't know how far, it was old, because I remember them talking about it was 100 years old, you know.
When you were living there?
Yes, I was still there, so the house was already 100 years, you know.
Wow.
But the construction of it, you could tell it was kind of heavy wood. It's almost like, you know, the log cabins here, where it wasn't constructed that way, but you could see the lumber and very thick and everything, and it was, so he could stand, a long time.
But, okay, so no running water.
Oh, no water.
You went to the stream how far away?
About maybe almost half a mile, really.
To get water every day?
Every day we had a servant that was, I told you before, that wasn't quite with it, so he did some of the jobs like that.
Right.
He was able to go and get the water, fill up. He would fill up the 55-gallon drum in the kitchen, and that was stood in the corner. And that water was used for washing yourself and for everything, for boiling, for making meals. And then when it was getting lower, he had to come and fill it out again, just call him and he would fill out. Sometimes I would...
What would he carry, bags, or what would he carry? Buckets or bags?
2 buckets and I don't know how you call it. It's kind of two... You cut it here.
Like a yoke on his shoulder?
Yes, on the shoulder. And it extends about that much on each side. You have 2 buckets on chains.
Like 5 gallons each?
At least, yeah. At least 5 gallons each. And and he would carry a few trips like that, would fill out the 55-gallon drum. But he had to do that for the kitchen.
Right.
And then for the cattle, we had another big drum in the barn with all the cattle that needed water all the time, That was, he had to keep that full all the time.
He got a good exercise.
Oh yeah, yes,
definitely.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
Well, everybody did back then. So it had no water, it had no power.
No electricity, no power.
What did you kerosene lights or?
The kerosene and they call it carbide. It's like creates gas. It smells like crazy. I don't know what it was, but they used to call it carbide. I don't know what they.
Was it solid fuel?
Yeah, like I don't know, like rocks or something like that. But somehow I can't really tell you how it was. But all I remember is carbide, and it was carbide lights, or it was naphtha. But they call it naphtha. Yeah.
So you lit it and it burned, and you had a globe around it.
You had a globe, it's like.
Right.
Like we have that little lantern downstairs, you had those all over the week. So whenever you went, you carried one of those with you, And,
yeah. Oh, wow.
So but no electricity, no.
And did you have wood stove or coal? Wood?
We had wood stove, yes.
Wood stove to cook on.
We didn't have any coal at all.
No cook. So to keep warm, you had a wood fireplace, or you used the stove?
They used to call it, not ovens, I don't know how you...
furnace?
Fire.
Wood furnace?
No, couple, tile like a oven, if you want to call it. You would heat it up in the morning, for about an hour or something. The heat gets everything hot, the tile and everything. And then it will last all day into the evening, because everything was clay inside. And the tile was just to make it look nice, and it was like a piece of furniture almost, And that heated the house, and that was kind of my job too, You had, instead of making a fireplace or something, you had a fire like that inside this oven, just strictly for heat.
Right.
You heated all that up, and then it lasted all day,
How cold did it get in the winters? Do you remember?
Just about the same as here,
Here?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, naturally, in winters I remember some winters were really cold. I mean, you touch, in our case, like in the hallway.
The lake froze over, right?
Oh yeah, the ice was like thick.
So it got thicker. It got colder than here then.
Well, yeah, it used to be
colder than Chicago.
Probably more like Chicago, yeah.
More like Chicago.
Because
this is kind of a mild.
Not like here, because that's right. I'm talking that's on England. Like Chicago, at least.
Yes.
It would get pretty darn cold. I mean, if you put your hand on a door handle going out of the hallway outside, would just freeze it if you didn't have something on, I mean, you would stick to it actually.
Right.
That was so bad.
Right.
Good boy.
So you had to get. So it was So everybody's counting on you to get up and get the heat going there.
Oh yeah, well, not me all the time, but most of the time when I was got of age, naturally, that was my job, man. And when I got older, I had to sleep. We had a little room on the side, and I had to, that was my bedroom then. And so I remember I had to, all my duties had to, my father would knock about 4 o'clock in the morning on the wall, wake me up. I had to go and feed the horses, and stuff like
He'd
that.
knock. Do you have an upstairs?
Yeah, but we didn't use it,
So he used an adjacent bedroom. They had
yeah, that was the same house. Yeah, just a
and they'd
different.
knock
Just
on
like here, you go to.
And he'd go back to sleep, and you go do all the work.
Yeah, oh yeah, I did, because you get the horses fed. I mean, not fed, but put them food in there. They would chew that or eat for 8 hours. See.
Right.
So by the time you took them out to work, they had to eat 2 hours.
To digest something.
To digest, yeah. So that's why I had to go at 4 o'clock and then put the first batch of in there. Our
what oats or what was it?
Oats and cut up
Corn,
straw, straw like and then mixed with oats, yeah, and maybe some other stuff, But and then you had this whole trick was you put in the trough, you put in the trough, but you had to put the water right before the horses would eat any of that, because otherwise I don't know whether you know it, but horses was very touchy. If they weren't used to it or something, they would grab a mouthful or of that before you put the water and mix it with water, and you couldn't pre-mix it. You had it was done in the trough all the time. The trough was like a concrete type of thing, so it didn't leak out. The horses usually when my father went to war, we lost 2 horses, 3 horses. The best horses we lost because of that helper. He fed them when he didn't watch, and he must have. That's the only way we could find, because he fed them. He didn't put the water fast enough, and the horses grabbed, and they get
plugged up.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do, and. My mother would call my uncle from the town to help out. He could come and they would wrap their horse on their sides, and they would put their arm in there, try and pull out by hand, Sometimes she would help, but all 3, they couldn't make it. It was too late.
That was probably.
Within an hour or 2 hours, he was dead. He was dead.
Oh my God!
With horses are so sensitive. I never thought that just by being plugged up like that they could die that quick. Yeah.
So that must have been that was a bad.
Oh,
you really relied on the horses.
Gosh, yes. My father, he was. Well, when he came back, he didn't even know it because he was in the army. Then he was. When he came back, he found out that broke his heart, because that was a couple of these horses were the best horses we had.
When he went to the army for which?
Well, the World War II broke out.
When it first broke out, the Polish army.
Polish police, army police. That's where he went for that. So
was it mandatory or?
Oh no, you had to go. That's
right.
it.
They called him up, and that was that.
When they call you, what you notice, and that's it. You report there and at such time. That's it. So
he was there when the Germans.
Oh yeah, he was
Blitzkrieg and.
Yeah, he was when the Germans came to occupy our town and etc. He wasn't home because he was on the other side of Poland, actually in Lublin. Now it's Russia. But he was there, and he had to decide. Before the Germans took it over, or Russians, because the Russians were coming from the other side, and he could go to the Russian as a prisoner, or you come to the Germans, So he had to make a choice. And many of these, as you heard about the cotton, the officers were all killed, shot by the Russians and everything. Yeah. Many of them went to Russia. And my father chose to go back home to Germany because he spoke German fluently. And I guess that was part of the reason. Good job he did, because he probably wouldn't have survived, Right. So he came back that way because he was released pretty quick and spoke German, and everything. So he came home, and then we realized what's happening, But,
right.
But the war didn't last that long, so it wasn't that bad because it lasted only a short time. And
well, then it was.
as far as the
west
actual
of you guys,
fighting,
west of you, all over there.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. But that taking the invasion of Poland,
pretty quick.
I'm sure because they had all this, the planes were. I mean, they were going. From what I was told all the time, just flying right over the column of Poland of Polish people that were escaping. They were running someplace. They didn't know where the heck they're running. I knew people that had now neighbors and everything that had villas that brought property from us. They're all escaped. They thought they had cars, so they could. They only ones around that had cars. Others were my uncle Frank. He was a butcher. He had a truck, so some people went in the truck with him just to escape. Two uncles actually, my mother's sisters. They ran over too, and these people were gone by the thousands on these highways, and everybody was heading for Warsaw, away from Germany, because they didn't know. And the German planes would just come. We just ride over them, machine gun everything. This is it. So they never returned. They never knew that they were probably killed. Never heard of these people that had bought property from us to buy the house, and the others that had owned a big villa, beautiful. They never came back. The government took everything over them after that, and that's it.
My goodness.
But that's why the war didn't last very long. That's because they were just so overwhelmed. There was they were just got slaughtered. That's it. They're patriotic and everything, but what? On a horse? Come on.
Right. No, right. They're totally.
No.
So what do you remember about the build up to the war? Do you remember the politics and people arguing, or
no,
your dad and mom talking about it, or?
Well, no. One thing we used to have is a newspaper every day. Yeah.
Oh, really?
We did have a newspaper. Yeah, because I remember.
What was it called?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
What it's called. Jendinka, probably Jendinka, but I'm not sure. But my father used to read in the evenings, like I never forget. It was sat in the kitchen, kind of warm and everything, especially in winter time, And we had a servant woman, that was with us for years, and she had a boyfriend. So the boyfriend came to visit, and we always sat in the evenings. And I remember those evenings, my father would read the paper, they loud, like the stories of different things that happened. And one of the things was this Spanish War, the Revolution.
Yeah.
At that time, I remember that really good, because my father was read almost every day, with even articles that were written, what they were doing.
Guernica?
Franco there, and all that, yeah. So that was kind of that I remember real good, because he used to read that all the time.
Would he talk to you about it?
No, he didn't. But he just read that, and that's it. But he never, he wasn't. He wouldn't talk about it too much, This, especially before he didn't. He was one that didn't talk too much. Really, I don't know.
Well, you've busy working.
Yeah, there is. This is why, like when I was small, like school, like going to school, I didn't get help or anything like that from my work, and I was a poor student to begin with. I didn't like school, so it's so it's kind of, like a farm boy, just happy-go-lucky, and that's it, So I did all kinds of stuff, There was so many things to do, for a boy, to lakes and bushes and hazelnuts and walnuts, and you go and pick everything, berries of all kinds. I was a free, happy-go-lucky kid, I never had a hard time or anything like that, and I did almost anything. Summertime, it was swimming all the time, and the beach. Oh yeah, it was in in winter time, gosh, with sleds and skating on the ice and all that. It's always. Or in summertime I would go fishing. I used to like fishing.
In your ponds on your property there?
Yes, yeah.
Lakes?
Yeah, there's 3 lakes up there, so they were down. So at that small lake, I fished a lot on that one because.
What kind of fish were in there?
I would call it bass, here, and the pikes were there too. I would lay on there. There was a bridge going to the little island. Our neighbor.
Whoops.
Rainbow.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah.
There was a bridge.
Yeah, pretty solid.
The bridge that was going to the island. So on that bridge, I would lay and put a line like this, watch the fish in it, and come and bring it again. That was their nose, so they grab it.
And they bite it, you pull it out?
Oh yeah, naturally, yeah.
But no pole or anything?
Not all the time, but no. This was just off the. But I used to go with a pole too. But
what did you use for bait?
I don't remember. Worms.
Worms.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Back then, I guess that.
Yeah.
Was it a barbed hook, or was it just you fashion your own hook?
No, they had a regular hook.
Yeah.
You had a regular hook. Yes.
Cool.
But I used to do that.
And you bring them home and eat them?
Yeah, my mother would just fry them. One thing I would throw in there, like they call it. I don't know these. They probably call it throw it here for crab or some little
crab pot.
Maybe something like that. But we would throw it in the water and and the eels would go in it too.
Oh.
So sometimes I would catch a or a line. If you put a line on it and hooks from each line, and the eel would grab it too sometimes.
Like a long line with a lot of hooks on it?
Yeah, well, a long line and then small hooks going from it,
Yeah.
The eel would grab it, and so when I pull the line, I would be going on, but still, you would pull the line to see how many fish are on it. And when there would be an eel like a snake, and I would never touch it. I would grab it by the line, and drag it to the sun, through everything. Go to the house, so my mother, she didn't care that. Yeah, she slam it over the head, and that's it, But I would have to take it to my mother. I wouldn't touch it.
I wouldn't.
And yet I liked it, to eat when she prepared.
How did she
like it? Jello, like not jello, but cold. It was cold.
Like sushi.
Yeah, sushi. Yeah, it was kind of like
Jelly.
Yeah, with
eel.
a jelly. Yes.
Jellied.
Jelly. Yeah. Okay. That was good. That was good. Yeah, it was. I liked it. But it's when we went back to Poland, it's kind of they freaked me. They remembered why I liked it, so they put it. But I found it awfully greasy by that time.
Your taste would change.
Yeah, my taste changed, and it was was awfully greasy, fat, fishy fat, but still, So I just didn't. I ate, but I didn't care like I used to at one time, But anyway, that's how I fished, The other fish I would take them off the hook and everything, but the eels, no. Yeah, so it's
crazy.
But it was, I just had a ball, as a kid,
But you still had your dad had chores for you.
Oh yeah, I had chores. Yeah, I had to, something to water the wood. Yeah, I had to do some of the wood. Yeah. And,
in the winter, you got logs and you helped your dad.
But in summertime, I used to have to go on, like a shepherd with the cows. I had to watch the cows. Maybe or the horses. Sometimes on Sunday they would be grazing, and so I just have to go and keep an eye on them so that they don't run away or something like that.
How many cows did you have?
Usually 15, 18, 20, So.
How about horses?
Small calves, calves, and, horses usually four horses. Really.
And they worked. They were workhorses.
Workhorses, yes.
Chickens?
Chickens, there was
all over the place.
Loads of them.
Pigs?
Pigs, yeah, usually probably 15, 20, even 25 pigs, at least.
What else?
Well, and it's geese and
geese
and ducks, and We didn't have turkeys,
Uh-huh.
but geese and chicken, yeah, that's about it as far as that goes. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course we grew. We had 2 gardens, so we grew our own fruit and everything, apples and pears and
Potatoes.
all potatoes. Yeah,
That was a
farmed.
mainstay, right?
That was
and you
farmed. Yeah,
store those underground and
yeah.
pull them out as you need
The
them.
potatoes, you know, that's another. I had to many times do that. It'd be work with the other, because my father would hire people to come and help, like potatoes. You were putting them in the ground, you know.
Mm-hmm.
My
To
father
plant
would-
them.
Yeah, plant them first. Then, so they always had few women, usually women, you know, to earn some money that way, you know, or they used to work for us in the summertime, like in the harvest. The men used to cut with sickle, you know, they cut the wheat and the rye, you know, and whatever had to be cut, you know.
With a hand.
Oh yeah, the
sickle.
hand, yeah, there was, yeah, because we couldn't use machine because we were too hilly. Some spots maybe you could, but it wasn't.
But you had machines around, but
No, we didn't. No, we didn't have any
Oh.
harvesting machines or anything. We had machines to separate the corn or wheat from the straw, naturally, yes. That was machine, yeah. But it was horse driven, you know, it was horse.
And how many acres were you guessing?
Oh, I think we had about 80 acres of
80 acres.
Yeah.
Did they call it acres or hectares? Or
Mortgage, they used to call it mortgage.
Mortgage?
Yeah, mortgage. Like mortgage, yeah, mortgage, that was his mortgage, yeah.
oh.
But I couldn't, I would have to translate it. I don't remember now what it was compared to an acre, you know. I don't know.
Okay, so school. What do you remember about school? And how would that day go, a school day go?
Oh yeah, I had to walk to school about a mile and a half, at least mile, probably 2 miles.
Uphill both ways?
No, nice road. I think it's still there. Yeah, well you see,
Oh.
there you go. It's here's our farm. I had to walk from here. There was a highway this way, and then highway was up to here, and then you have to go up the pathway up to the hill. And the school was about here. See, yeah. So it's and that was every day.
And point to your house.
That was our
Right
house.
there,
Yeah,
right there. What was that other?
This was the small.
What was that building right there?
That was one of the barns.
Barns, right.
Our main barn was at the other side of that.
Uh-huh.
And this was the other barn. The other one, the one for wheat and wheat, it was much higher than this, but it's not on this painting anymore because that was taken down when my father saw it. This is, you know, so it doesn't show it.
And that's the town of Gorzno?
Gorzno, yes, yeah.
And that's
Edward lives about here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, about here. Even now, and Stosh, my other brother about here.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Right now?
still, yeah, they still, because Edward died naturally,
Right.
but they still there though, yeah.
That church is what church?
Catholic Church, yeah.
What Saint?
Gosh, you know, I don't remember that.
Okay.
That's a ancient, yeah, that's ancient too, yeah.
Do you remember did the lakes have names?
No, usually Jezioro Gorzna, and that was called Staff. That's all, that mixed lake, you know, pond. But it was pretty big one day. You know, this is where I used to fish a lot.
Okay.
And then there was a third lake further down. Well, you don't see it here, but there was another, so that Edward could go get to it. You know, but it was right here. It started here, more or less, and then it went that way. You know.
So, yeah.
But I used to walk that distance back and forth.
To the school.
Yeah, in winter time when this.
So it's through the woods there, through the trees?
Well, no, that was a road.
Oh, that's a road.
That was
Okay.
a road. Yeah, it was a road. The neighbor was here was the flour mill.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So you can't see the flour mill. From
No, because it's behind the trees there.
All right.
But there was a road and a bridge because there was and then you went to the main road, and then you turn right and you walked all the way up to here, you know, and then the road goes like this, and I would cut it across on the pathway, going.
How long did it take you to get to school?
45 minutes, something like that.
For you.
Yeah,
Did
but
you-
in wintertime, this will be frozen.
And you walk straight across.
So I used to go across like that, and yes, across the ice, and then up here, you know.
Uh-huh.
It's cool. Yeah.
So Mom painted that picture in 1982.
No, Mom, no.
Mom,
No,
Mom's name is in there.
Oh yeah, see, my Mom painted it, but from
It's
another picture that was painted.
It was a camera picture or another?
No, a
painting?
painting, I think. It was a
okay.
painting. And remind me, I think it was black and white. And I told her, you know, what was like this, what color this, because
Right.
it was wheat, you know. Kind of told her what was nothing in it, what was it. So she kind of improvised and from what my telling, from my
I think it's
memory.
really nice.
Oh yeah, it's
And
that was a beautiful area. People were buying property. See that?
Yeah, this is another,
this
that's
one-
a regular picture up here.
Yeah, this was the one. That property was bought from us. Then there was another piece of property that was up here that was bought just before the war.
Uh-huh.
That these people we never found. These escaped and never found those. You know. So and this was little homes built through the war.
This is after the war. This is
That was after the war.
those
yeah.
were Russian vacation homes
Yes,
for,
right.
for the
exactly.
proletariat.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Where was the house in this picture?
Out in house it's behind. Well, here is partially.
Oh,
See
okay.
that there's a barn. There's a house actually.
Oh, that's your house.
Yeah, yeah. Because you're taking from the picture from this town from up here someplace. You know.
Yeah.
You're taking it that way.
Right. And are those little shacks still there? Or they got torn down?
Right now I don't even know. I don't never asked when we were there. Through the I mean so they were still there, but now I don't know whether they're still there or not.
Okay, so this one, that's your house,
This is the house, yeah.
and that's kind of what it looked like about when you're.
Yeah, that's kind of way back. Yes, yeah. But see, red tile doesn't show.
No, that looks bad.
Like there's like a patch, yeah, but it wasn't.
It was
wasn't.
tile when you were
I don't
there.
know why he painted because this is yeah.
That's
But this
a-
was the way the fence was and everything. Here, this tree, I split my knee. Lip skating, and it's still you can still tell.
yeah.
I was a kid,
On
you
that
know.
tree right
Yeah,
there.
that tree. I got because this is downhill.
Oh.
And I would take my sled and it was short sled. I would sit on it or go down. It was pretty sharp. It doesn't show it here. I hit that tree right smack in the middle, and
Oh my
the way I was bleeding all over the place.
I bet that tree's bigger now. Huh?
Oh yes, but this is kind of changed because it's they rebuilt the house.
And Mom painted this after another painting.
Yeah, I think so. I'm
No,
not
I
even.
didn't.
Oh,
They
you-
painted it off a black and white postcard.
A black and white postcard.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, sorry, Mom. And what year was that? Do you remember? I don't see the year on there.
What?
What year did you paint that?
Don't I have it on there?
No, not on that one. The other one's 82.
Which one are you talking about?
The
small
house,
one up
the one of
there.
the house.
Oh, no, Edward gave you that one.
Well, that's what it
Oh.
was. Yes.
Oh, you know,
Edward and
you're right. It's a Maria somebody painted
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, that was
Okay.
another painter.
I take it back.
I thought you
Yeah.
were talking about this one.
No, we were for a long time, but then we
Oh,
moved.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, no, that was a.
But it was
painter from
it was
Poland.
it was a prime property, really, as far as the
Yeah.
scenic is concerned.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was, people came from, these were all from Warsaw people that were buying these properties because they couldn't get over the view and everything, you know, it was like, you know, we're looking, this is the view way, and you got lakes and forests and everything.
So it was like vacation
Oh
property.
yeah, gosh, yes. And
They've got small cabins built up there now.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But and there in the middle here, that wasn't our property, but there were two ladies from Warsaw, and one was opera singer, yeah, and the other one is younger, and her and a brother that he used to sit and paint different pictures, you know. But she built a house there, beautiful, and lived there.
Up
But
on that hill.
She retired from Warsaw. And it's here, you know. So it was a desired properties, you know, there for all over for view, you know.
Cool.
So it's yeah. So so as a kid, you just like going to school, yeah. But the only thing is, I didn't like school. See?
Right. So you had it was a one, how many grades were in, was it one?
Seven grades.
All in one classroom or something, or how did that work?
No, there was different grade. It was
Different
two-story building, and there were 7 rooms, at least 7
Oh, okay.
rooms, if not more, Yeah, oh gosh, yes, that was.
How many kids were in your classroom?
Probably 35, something like that. Yeah.
In your classroom, okay.
Yeah, boys and girls together,
Do you remember the teachers? Or a favorite teacher?
A favorite?
Yeah.
Favorite?
Or the most notorious?
Notorious.
Yeah.
Redmond was the most notorious because he was tough. He was tough, but he was a music teacher.
Uh-huh.
And, then math teacher, Gowinski,
Uh-huh.
he was the one in charge of the school,
Uh-huh.
but he was teaching math. And he would something else. He would chase kids from they had benches or tables like, for students sat, he would jump on the table with the student. But it was, it was different at that time too. If you did some of the things they did here before, you would get fired right off on the spot,
Yeah.
I remember getting it with this little thin,
Ruler.
ruler. No, ruler. It was, they used to have of wood, a branch or something, nice straight, but thin, so this almost cut you with this stupid thing, So it's, you got with that, but it's, but even so, in spite of all that, you still, you know how boys are, they would just.
Did they teach you, so reading they had, what were the subjects? Reading?
Reading, math and geography.
Science?
Music and some science, some
religion?
science. Religion, religion was 1 hour on Fridays. I never forget that.
Uh-huh.
And then when you get older, you had to go for 2 hours to church for religion. So a priest would be teaching the catechism,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were examined on that and you progress from there.
Did they teach you any skills like, mechanical things there?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Or no cooking or anything like that? You
No.
picked that all up at home?
That's here, That's there was no, but then there was drawings, drawing,
Art?
Art, you had that, yes, because I know there was a couple of kids in our class that were really, really good, just like Matt used to be,
Yeah.
There was one, oh man, and he would draw faces, son of a gun, and he was a disabled kid. When one leg, he was he couldn't step on it. He was the leg was there, but he was, I don't know why they never corrected it, but probably they couldn't afford it something, I don't know. But he was really good, and there was a couple more, Slavinsky, that just there were two sons.
Mm-hmm.
They were good drawers, man. They were really good. So I was not good.
Well, so did they have radios? Did you have a radio?
No.
You did no radio
No.
communication?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No. Newspaper was the only one that I know of. Maybe some people had it. I don't know. We didn't have a movie house in the town. In town, when they wanted
theater.
No.
You had opera.
No, we didn't have anything. But it was just was no. So they would bring some movies sometimes to and they would show them in the in a hall, like and there was like the one that I really remember. I don't know why, but Dr. Zhivago, they brought that. That's I remember that one. So it kind of impressed me or something. I know, but they would every so often would bring something that.
Is that why I played that on the accordion?
I don't know.
Do you remember I played that?
Yeah. Yes, I know.
Or is it? Yeah, Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, because because I was, I used to spend hours. That's another thing I used to do when I was a kid. Like, on the veranda by the house.
Yes.
He had it was a button accordion type of thing.
Right.
You know? So every time you go this way or this way, it would be different sound. Not like a regular accordion. And it was like two rows, so that, on a basis. I used to spend hours. No music because I didn't know. Music by ear.
You'd hear something, you try to make it happen.
Right. Yeah. So I would sit on that, and I mean I would sit 2-3 hours sometimes and spend on that.
You would go out in a boat too and do it in the boat.
Well, not with that, not playing, but on the boat. Yeah, we used to go, but no, I didn't do that actually on the boat. But yeah, I spent a lot of time on this because then eventually I got pretty damn good because we had when like a party at home or something, they would dance to my music,
Oh, cool. Did you? At home,
at home,
polkas.
Yeah, waltzes, polka, and stuff like that,
So
but I could feel everything by memory.
In the winter, summer,
yeah. Well, usually in the winter time,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's I used to do that. Then just through the war was started and everything. Then my parents saw that I really liked, and they couldn't afford to send me to music school, because I would have probably taken a long time to learn, but because apparently I was slow. I was slow with everything, and but I was so determined to play that I would have probably played even, so they bought me accordion, and I probably maybe if they could have maybe afforded to send me to school, I would have probably made out pretty good, But the war broke out, and then everything fell apart. My accordion that they bought me, my brother took it, and he
Edward?
No, Stosh. And he played pretty good. He played quite a lot, He's played at home with dances and everything like this. He would play, yeah. Oh yeah, he was. Even when we went over there, he was still
really.
Oh
was
yeah.
it the same accordion?
Well, I don't know whether by that time whether it was the same one or not. Probably was because
you say that's my accordion.
Yeah, that's.
So what was the most number of people that were in your house when you were growing up there before the war? Do you remember?
Well, they're just my two brothers, 2 sisters, and myself naturally. Five of us.
And your folks.
My folks. Grandmother, because grandparents, you were always they grew old and died in your house,
Right.
So they would. My grandparents were there. They had the other part of the house.
Separate, it was sort of.
Separate. Separate. But so they were, and the lady that was the servant, She was younger. She was, I don't know, 23, 24 years old, something when he was high. I remember her father used to come and see her all that, ever so often,
And she had a boyfriend?
Well, the boyfriend, but when the father used to come, he would come maybe once every 3 months, 4 months, something like that. But he was getting old, and he was kind of sick. But he taught me how to ride a bike.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. We had
your maid's father.
Yeah, he was. I never forget that. My father bought an old bike. So we didn't buy any bike, an old bike. It was pretty damn old. But anyway, on Sunday he would take me take me on that main road that I'm talking about. We used to walk
to go to town.
To town, because it was nice and straight and nice pathway and everything. And he would start me from scratch, from he never. And
your dad or
no,
her dad.
Her dad, he would teach me how. So he stuck with me for it till I knew how to ride the bike completely. So I was in 7th heaven naturally.
You taught me how to ride a bike in the backyard in Carpenter Street, and I remember the day it was yesterday. When I turned around and looked, and you were at the far end of the yard, and I had ridden that whole way by myself, and I thought you were pushing me the whole way. I remember. Like yesterday.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, that's how he did it too, for me. So he's, but I never forget that. That's he was. but he poor guy eventually was getting sicker and I remember when he finally got real sick one time he came, it was winter time, snow, thick, and he came somehow and he stayed with us a couple of days or 3 days, but he got really sick, it was something, digestion, it must have been his stomach, or he must have had a cancer, but at that time he didn't know, so he got so sick that we didn't know what to do, so that she said, his daughter says, could you take him to their uncle, or her uncle someplace, it was in the next state, like, nothing.
Next county or whatever?
Well, it was a different, like you do here, Pomorze, Warszawskie, then you have states like Washington, Oregon, this. So they was kind of next, not that far, but it was probably, I don't know, 20 miles, 25 miles one way, at least.
And it was real cold, and
it was cold.
So by sled you took him?
Well, it was, so we took we didn't take a sled because you don't know what you're going to run into,
Sure.
But my dad put the couple of horses in the wagon, and we laid them in the back of the wagon, the straw, kind of as soft as possible. But he was already in agony, literally. And she was sat, his daughter sat with me, and
so you went on the trip?
And that let me go with her to take him wherever that, I was old enough there, I guess, to. And so he says, you take him. I said, okay.
So you took him?
So I took him with the horses.
Not your dad?
Not my dad. No, I took him, but he had everything. He got ready. He just took me. And so we went early in the morning, and we went all the way. And somehow she had some help. They got him down because I wasn't. I don't know. Got him in the house, and then she was there for a while, and we came back home. But he didn't live long. A few days later, and that's it. So, but anyway, that was So that's what they say. But he was the one good thing he taught me how to ride a bike. Yes,
that's a big deal.
Very good. Yeah, that was a big deal. Yeah. I tell you, I was tickled pink.
You had another helper, the guy who wasn't was a little slow.
Well, yeah, that one was because he was a kind of like street people here.
Yeah.
Maybe so my father kind of took him in because he didn't have a home. He was homeless type of thing.
What was his name?
And he was Bronick.
Bronick.
Yeah. And he wasn't. He didn't have it all together naturally,
But he's a hard worker.
But hard worker, yes, hard worker. And if you wanted, he would go to town for you. My mother, I remember giving him money, kind of whatever she more or less needed. She would make a list, give him the money, wrapped in paper or something. He would go. They would serve him, give him the change, whatever he would come back. That's he did that type of stuff. Once in a while he would do that. Because it's quite a walk. So my mother would make out the list. And
where did he sleep? Where did he live?
He slept in the barn.
In the barn.
Yeah, he had a bed up,
like a little
higher up, and he slept in the barn. Yeah, and but.
Still, probably was happy.
He was happy. Yeah, he was happy. Oh, he was tickled pink, always happy. There's no. The best thing he would do is give him a cigarette. Oh man!
Oh really?
Or do almost anything for a cigarette. But that cost us quite a bit one time because But he would anytime.
Did the barn nearly burn down?
Yeah, because he put it on his bed
on
the side, and then it fell into the bed, and it kind of.
And it damaged the barn pretty badly.
Burned it down.
Burned it down.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Sure. I remember like it happened yesterday because the fire department came. They were putting it out, with horses and all this. By time
they pump water from the lake.
Yeah, from the small lake there, So they had plenty of water, but by the time that they got gone, this was good. I know we were taking
in a barn.
People were taking furniture out of our house, into the garden, and everything.
You were worried about losing the house.
Oh yeah, because it was attached.
Yeah.
There was a walkway where the the potato furnace boiler was, and some other things, that little walkway, like through little hallway, like if you want to call it, with some room there, and that was burning already, and everything. And the house is wood.
Wood.
So they figured that fire department won't manage it, but they did. That's all they were trying to do.
Stopped it there.
They were trying to do, just stop
Save the house.
Save the house. That's all it mattered by that time. Yeah.
Fire department.
yeah. So the fire department. Yeah, I remember that. Like, whew. Man.
Were they running around with buckets, or were they just? They have a hose and they had a pumper thing with the.
Yeah, they had the pump
push,
like that.
pull,
yes, right. Yeah.
And they were spraying water.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So they went in through the front door and they stopped it right at that hallway.
I know exactly how they did it, but they were just whatever.
And they would have had to go on the inside probably because it was.
As a kid, I had to be outside in the garden. That's it.
Yeah. How old were you when that happened?
I don't know. I really don't remember that.
Did any horses die or any
No,
animals?
nothing. Everything got out. Yeah, got out. Nothing.
But that sets you back because you lost your barn.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was too young to. Father never explained, or how they made out. The insurance paid so much, and I don't know. We had a mortgage on it. I don't know what, but they did build a new one. Much better naturally.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, and then with space up on the top, much better equipped for hay. That's why we used to put hay for the horses and cows and all this, in wintertime. So that was packed with hay, but when it went on fire, I don't know how much hay was still in there, but it was summertime, so, But anyway, so, he said, see what he did, and what are you going to do,
Yeah.
This is,
He admitted.
Oh, yeah, sure, because he,
wow.
so, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Did I miss anything during that period that we need to know about? Probably, but
yeah,
anything jumping out at you?
It's nothing special, but it's like myself, I just had like winter time. I would be having fun too because I would make my own skis, out of the drum.
And you just tie them on your feet?
Yeah, I would say I kind of improvised, straps on it, and I would get on where the property was sold to the people from Warsaw. It was a steep hill, obviously. I would get up there and I would tumble. But I had fun. I enjoyed it and stuff, and I would spend hours in the snow.
Would you and Edward and Stosh do that, or was it just
No, just me, because I was the oldest.
You're the only crazy one.
Yeah, I was the crazy one because they were still too young. Because Agnes was the next one, and then Jean.
Right. So you were the eldest. So
Yeah.
How was the next? Could you do the order?
Yeah, Agnes was the next. Jean was.
How many years younger was she?
Couple of years, two.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Jean, it's about again 2 years or something. Then Stosh and Age was the last one,
And how the difference between Edward and you, age-wise? How many years?
Gosh, probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years, something like that. Yeah, 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I was as a boy. I was by myself.
Right.
Yeah, I was the mischievous one.
Because the girls there were, they're just not.
Yeah, the Agnes probably remembers Steve because, but I was the one. I just remember my mother chasing me with a broom, because I must have done something. What I did. Many times, my mother would bake the bread because you had to break your own bread.
Yeah.
So used to make loaves like from this, like this, the big loaves like that, and it would last for a week, But my mother used to make four loaves like that, in a pan, and one without the pan. It was the hard crust on it, It was like when you buy from Safeway, that thin one that you bought one time here.
Yeah.
So the crust on it would be like that, except bigger, But that would be so she was, and usually in cabbage leaves. She would put in cabbage leaves, put that in that loaf that she hadn't needed, put it in the oven, and it smelled so good. It was delicious. It was just delicious. And I would be cut the crumbs off the bed. I love that, but you know, so I would do that.
Would it be like in the windowsill
Sometimes-
cooling or something?
What?
She'd have it out cooling? Or it would
No,
be
she'd be already taken out, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
and then put in the cabinet, you know. So,
in the cabinet?
yeah, but first she cooled off, so I had to cool off, you know, but by the time I was in the cabinet, boy, I would cut off, close the door. So it's, but I just, you know, and fresh whipped butter on it. Oh man, just, no cake or anything, beats that, you know, really. It was just delicious, you know. That's why I like that type of bread, you know.
Brother.
But that's maybe what she chased me for many times. And she used to, and another thing that she would chase me probably for, she would make stewed plums. Like, you know, but they weren't like here, you buy plums and you freeze them, so like we do now, but mother would make them in a sauce, like, you know, a big jar like that, a big one. She would make them in the jars, and there was juice in it, you know, like they were kind of sweet sour
Battled
juice.
them, in other words.
What?
She battled them, in other words.
Well, she
She
wasn't.
battled them.
Put them in a jar.
Yeah, but it was all kept in that big jar. It wasn't bottled.
Oh.
Yeah, she was. Any shoe I know would be in that other room there, our big room that was usually just it wasn't used except for.
And I don't mean that she actually put them in. That's what we used to call them, bottled.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah. I could because I don't know how you call it.
She would cook them and then
Yes,
put them, preserve
yes,
them in the jar.
Yeah, it was.
Or in
But-
the
And you could that would be for the whole winter, like, you know, usually for the whole winter. Well, I love those things so much that I would sneak in and open the cabinet, sneak in the other room there, you know, because it was cooler there and everything, and I knew my mother kept it, so I would sneak and get some all the time, you know. And once my mother first started finding out, it's always getting lower and lower. Well, who the heck is doing it? You know.
Edward.
So the only one guilty was Joseph. Yeah. So it's there's stuff like that, you know. So she would chase me for stuff like that, you know. Or if I didn't want to do something that she asked me to do, you know, and I didn't do it. So you know, it's but otherwise my duties or something like this, you know, it's bring this, bring that, you know, do that, and some
go for it.
Yeah, go for it. I had to go to town, get some groceries, and so or help.
And
but
you would take the wagon?
No, just walk.
Just walk.
You know, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So it's because a few things only, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, but I remember it's like when my father would grow the pigs and we go to market with them, you know. So I sometimes I went with that, you know, with my mother and father, and the couple of pigs in the back, you know.
And you would you'd sell the pig whole alive.
Yeah, whole life.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
So,
Was it like an auction thing? People would bid on it, or what? Or you'd have a price?
Yes, oh yeah, they would come and, I think I told you sometime before, they would come and feel that back of the pig, you know.
Right. It depends what you fed them as to how.
Yes, so they could feel and they could tell whether it's fatty or not, and they were all gone for bacon to England. Everything was going.
If it was fatty enough.
Yeah.
Fatty enough.
Not enough. They did too much fat.
Too much fat they didn't want.
No, heck no.
They wanted
They were fed too fast, and just to make you fat and weight, you know. They didn't want that. So the minute they felt that it was too soft,
they didn't want it.
too much, they didn't want it. So,
Got it.
So if you came in, and you came with those, and so you done somebody. As far as I remember, every time we went, we saw them. So
what did your dad feed your pigs then to get them to where they were accepted?
well, they just didn't feed them too much potatoes, like, or you know, more of oats and stuff
Grain.
like this, and grain more or less. You know, kind of watched it that they don't put too many potatoes, because if you leave too many potatoes, so they get
too fat.
Yeah, too fat quick, and they gain weight, but they're not very. There's too much fat in this stupid stuff.
Got it.
And they could tell that And so I never forget that. Yeah, so we'd sell, and then they would stop. After that, after they sold the pigs, my uncle and they would go to a bar there, and I remember being in the bar. They would have a few drinks, celebrate. I guess so.
After selling the pig,
they could afford a little bit. They had a good time.
What, vodka?
Yeah, they usually. Yeah, oh yeah, there is vodka probably. I don't remember. I was too small.
And you used to go pick your dad up at the bar occasionally.
Oh yeah, because that's true. Like especially on winter time.
Not very often.
No, maybe once or twice a year, But he liked to stop after church on Sunday. He would go to the Berend. That's the store that was called Berend. He would go there and meet his buddies there. They would play pool table. I remember them all playing the pool table. And of course they have a drink here and there. Or they would play cards. I don't know what you call it here. Skata these days. You used to call it skat, but now what the heck that is?
It was kind of like a poker's pretty American.
Probably.
I don't know.
No, not that. It's different. I remember some of it, but it was complicated. It was quite complicated. So, and he would study, play cards, or play at pool table, and of course, then they get a few drinks. Naturally, get a little high, and before you know, they drink more. And so by certain time, he wouldn't come home. They would just enjoy doing stuff. My mother said, "You better go and get got that home," because I said, "Well, I don't know." See, sometimes I would go and he wouldn't come. So but most of the time he came. I finally said, "Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there." He would come home. But the trouble with this whole thing was that, to be honest, I mean, my mother, I think I don't know, we could never ask her, she told me, but I think she was jealous. She used to be she liked to enjoy stuff like that too, and play cards and, and be part of their party.
They did do that together? At times?
They did. Sometimes they did, yeah. Like after they sell the pigs, they did have a good time with them. And they used to go...
Did they like to dance?
That I don't remember. Yeah, they used to, because we had in the forest, used to have the summer dances, and they would dance there. So yeah, but not too. I don't remember seeing them to dance too much, but they were. So, but when they were young, I know they were living up pretty good. Yeah, they were definitely enjoying it.
Good.
So yeah.
So they were happy together.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, they were. Yeah, definitely. So
What did your dad call your mom?
Martha, it's worse.
Oh, you call her by name?
Yeah, I think so. It was Martha, yeah. Right.
And she called him?
Franz, Frank.
Wasn't honey or dear?
No.
They just called each other by their name?
Yeah. But from what I can gather, they enjoyed life, so. But they were hard workers, then that's why even like my schooling or anything, they didn't have time. I don't blame them for any of that stuff, because they didn't. They just were. My dad, he worked so hard all his life till when he finally gave up the farm because he had no choice already. So I know that man. And so, but with my dad, when he did stay too long sometimes, and he wouldn't come till late at night. And of course, the minute would open the door. Now, I was a little small kid, I was still sleeping in the same room. And they sleep because the rooms were, our bedroom was huge, so I was kind of on the other corner or something like that, And but the mother, he opened, and I would be awake, and I said, there you go. So that's the only time they had fights. Yeah, and that couple, maybe twice a year or something.
When he'd come back
drunk, and he wouldn't be that plastered. He was, and sometimes I mean, mother, leave him alone, leave him alone, because if she shut up, he would be quiet, but go to bed and fine.
I remember you guys.
Yeah, But no, he back and forth. He would say, he wouldn't answer, and he wouldn't answer. And
That's probably what got her mad.
yeah,
mad
right.
and
Well, yeah,
whatever.
because she enjoyed that. She enjoyed
No, I mean, because he didn't answer her, that's probably made her worse.
Yeah,
Then she would have been.
And like
Yeah,
you said,
but-
she was
but, you
jealous.
know,
she
she
would
did-
have liked to have been there having a good time.
Oh yeah, that basically that's what it was. You know, I when I think back, that's what it was. You know, so that's when they pretty big arguments would develop. You know, but come on, be quiet, man. And she would just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Come
Oh
on.
boy.
So, but it happened very seldom. You know. And then what she was afraid sometimes that he would, if you get drunk too much, in the winter time when he fell and fall asleep outside in the snow,
Coming home, yeah.
somewhere free, he would
Yeah,
die.
yeah,
You know,
right.
because it didn't take long to
No.
freeze. You know, to fall asleep. That's it. So many times she was afraid of that. You know, but many times it was not the need for, because once he walked in the house, you know, so she never mentioned that. She just but I know that she used to enjoy stuff that she would have been like to be there too, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Part of
Definitely.
the fun.
So they, so you, okay, let's see. So as far as your folks go, the Russians invaded and you ended up going, which we're gonna get back to, being taken by the Germans basically.
Yeah, but Russians didn't come to us.
Russians didn't come to you.
Do you know? They went only to Warsaw. You know, like when the fights over the Warsaw was with Germans, the Russians came and kind of helped the Germans from the other side.
Right.
The Polish people, the Polish soldiers and the nation didn't have a chance. You know, because that's it. And that's when the whole thing divided. You know, my father came this way.
Right.
A lot of these Polish officers and everything went to Russia and got shot. You know, so.
As far as they go, so he went back home,
Yeah, he came back.
and then he continued farming, but
Yeah.
you were gone at that point.
No, not at that
Not
point.
that
yet.
point.
No, at that point we saw this. That was still, you know, that was still 1939.
39.
The end, yeah. So,
Yeah, I guess so.
I didn't leave home.
So you remember your dad being gone?
Oh yeah,
And
I
then coming
remember
back.
that. So I didn't leave home till 1943.
Right.
Towards the end of 43. So it's when him.
Do you remember the month?
Not really, I don't remember.
Okay.
But he used to, I remember going with him to haul the lumber in wintertime especially, because summertime wasn't, we worked farm work, you know, but we sometimes in summertime went too. But most of the timber hauling was in wintertime, you know. So I used to go with him all the time, because by that time I was old enough to help him with some, you know, stuff like.
And the wars were going, the
And
Russians.
the war was still going, yeah. That's
Right.
that was you know. And my father, you know, he spoke German good, so he you know, he got. I remember he would figure out his dimensions, you know, the circumference of their lumber on their tree, and the length, and there was a formula that how you know what
Linear feet.
Yeah, this is so he did. He had
You would take it to the mill
the
and you would-
thickness, the thing. Yeah, we
you
had
cut
to
it up
take it to
into
the mill. Yeah,
boards. Yeah.
yeah. That was some company bought it, or the mill bought it, and we just hauled it. See, or sometimes we hauled it to a railroad station, where they would load it on railroad cars,
Flat cars.
flat cars. Yes, with you know. They fool them like you see them sometimes here, load them with it. My father sometimes was in charge of this loading business, you know, on top of what he was doing anyway. He got paid for that, you know, so he made some money that way. But we used to take him to the railroad stations, you know, quite often. That was
You
quite,
drag them? You had like
No.
a sled or a cart or something.
No, that in a regular cart, you know. It was you split the cart, like you got 4 wheels on a cart.
Yeah, and it was-
You could split it, the back
Right.
end, you go to the end, and
Way at the
everything
end.
was chains, you know. And the front would be on the front, the lumber would be, or the tree would be, log would be about 20 feet 25 feet long, you know. So that's how you.
How big in diameter? What was the biggest tree you remember?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to take
Big.
it. Oh yeah, at the bottom you couldn't. Maybe in the middle of the tree I might be able. Like now, maybe I would be able to.
And I think I asked you this before. What were they? What kind of trees?
Like this.
Like evergreens, like
evergreen,
Douglas fir type.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was they was big like big ones like that. They would let down and then you hold almost the whole thing except for the top. You know, you hold it.
Cut that off, and somebody else will hold that. Or
yeah.
something.
And so it's so we did that. In wintertime we did that a lot, and you leave
instead of farming, because that's what you do for
because
money.
you couldn't do much in the wintertime, so we do.
Yeah.
That was to make money on the site, extra. We would do that, and I remember going almost every day through the week, you know, with that, and it was sometimes cold as could be, you know.
What did you wear? What kind of coat did you have? What kind of boots did you have?
Well, we had snow boots, yeah. We had.
What were they made of? Leather? What?
Oh yeah, leather, yeah. Well, they were leather, yes, sir. But we used to put fat on it, you know, special oil or the grease from bacon, you know.
To seal that, make them waterproof.
Yeah, to keep the water, yeah. I remember doing that quite a lot, you know.
And you probably have to do that every time before you go?
Yes, and so keep them, so we used to.
And it worked pretty good?
Oh yeah, it worked good, yeah.
How about your coat? Did you do it with your coat?
Well, yeah, we had, you know, heavy coats, yeah.
Did you put oil on it like that?
No, nothing, just coat, yeah.
Do you ever get soaking wet and freezing cold and all that?
Well, not soaking wet so much, sometimes, but not, but
because it was too
freezing,
cold.
Freezing, yeah. Freezing, you know, when it was really cold, let's say you loaded the log, then you just had to pull it maybe, I don't know how many miles, 20 miles, something like that, to the lumberyard or station. And it took a long time, so you most of the time to keep it warm, you would just kind of run or walk behind the car because it was a slow moving.
So it'd be your dad and you.
Yeah.
And then if you got cold, you jump off and start walking.
Yeah, oh yeah. I started walking right behind it. And then hands, you would do this all. I mean, this you could see everybody doing, and that works like a charm, you know, because your fingers begin to get really cold, and you beat like that. Man, you warmed it up.
Did you bring food with you?
Oh yeah, it's a sandwich, you know.
Sandwich?
Bring a sandwich with us. Yeah.
Did you drink coffee, or did you have a flask of vodka, or were you?
No, vodka, something like that. But coffee, yeah.
Something to drink, stay warm.
Right. Yeah. So it's but that was and when it was real big snow and roads were pretty well covered, we would take the sled.
Right.
We had two sleds again. You put one sled on the one.
And two horses or one horse?
Two horses.
Two horses.
One who couldn't handle it.
Right.
You know. If you had one, you just had took a little small piece, you know. And
so you have to bring food for the horses too.
Yeah, well, most of them, yeah, because if you feed them 2 hours ahead, then you didn't feed them till 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. So but you brought something, you know, that they could munch on.
Like carrots or something, or
right. It's something we have there. But so we did that quite a bit. And so in winter, heavy winter time, we would have sleds, and that was my job, because on a sled, you had to sit on the back part.
Like a tiller.
And you had to steer. Yeah. That one that you couldn't walk behind, you know, this is it. You had to sit in the back and follow the track of the first one, you know, because their snow was
like a tiller, almost.
Yeah, and you have to follow the tracks to make it easier on the horses.
Yes.
For one thing, and you know, not to get off the road or some damn thing, you know, because it was so long, you know, this is it. So
like the fire engines with the tillers.
The only thing you had to watch it, because if the sled caught a stone or didn't have, you know, to jerk like this and you knock you off the.
That ever happened?
Not to me, no. But there's people that did get knocked off like that. So, but I never had any problem. But you sat a little bit further away, that if that just jerks it out, that the pole or whatever you call, we didn't hit you, you know. So when the train just swung and then, but if it goes, you just have to shout to stop because otherwise it'll run up a bank or something and a tip right and might fall right on top of you, you know, the whole damn thing.
So you just yell.
So you just
and he's
yell.
paying attention up there.
Yeah, you just yell, you know, this is it.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing but that was my job in winter time. And when I was all big enough, you know, that wasn't that all big, but it was big. But I was under German occupation already, was there. You know.
Right. So when did the Germans come get you?
That was in the, I don't know, October or something like that.
Of 80,
yeah.
43.
43, yeah.
And they just...
You know, it's, well, the whole story is that they didn't take everybody naturally, you know, but when the Germans came in 1939, the first month or 2 months or something that everybody had to report report yourself and, you know, and then you had to sign whether you wanted to become like a third-class German.
Right.
They call it Eigendeutch, you know. The proper Germans were Reichsdeutsch. The second, this was like there was an F, Volkslied, Reich and Volks, and then Eigendeutsch, third class type of thing. You sign up.
Lower class.
The lowest class, you know. So, but at least you got privilege of the coupons, you know, for different things, and some privileges, you know. Just kind of, and my dad's, I remember that they were really, but the good job that they did sign it, but they signed it, so that way they were kind of left alone. But even third class, my uncle, they signed. They were one of them. They had a bigger farm than ours, better soil and everything, and yet they took their farm because the Germans were coming from Ukraine or someplace. I don't know, Bessarab. They used to call them Bessarabs. I don't know, but they used to, and they would settle them on these Polish farms. You know, they just would throw you out. Either if they caught you at night, because they would come do that at night. They knock on your door, get you at night, and take you to concentration camp if you didn't, you know. But most of the people, they kind of didn't sleep at home. That's it. We didn't sleep at home a few times too, but we thought
because we were afraid of that.
Oh yeah, because so they used to stay in hay stacks in the fields, you know, and stuff like that. But my uncle, I don't know what they were that night, but they didn't wear. They were in the home, so they came and took the farm, you know. And my uncle, he was in Bronick, in the town that he had a 3-story building that he was used to rent, you know, beautiful, brand new building. I was always impressed with that. But they took his building too, but he moved out ahead of time because he knew because they were doing this all over the place, so he moved out ahead. So if you left the house and moved out and didn't bother anybody and don't complain or they didn't even come close to your property, you were left alone. They left you alone, really. Unless you may cause some problems, then, you know.
And it shipped you to a concentration camp?
The what?
Ship you to a concentration camp?
If you they were taken either to labor camps or usually concentration camps, you know. But if you weren't in third class, definitely, oh man, those are picked up. They picked up all the educated people, you know. All the teachers were picked up. The mayor of the town, there was a couple of lawyers, you know. If they were there, they caught them, you know. And those were arrested in daytime or in nighttime. That makes no difference. They would take the Gowinski that they owned a farm, he had a big farm in town, but his sons were educated with a couple of teachers, and they were taken, you know, and they died in concentration camps because they didn't lasted about 2 weeks or so in concentration. So, but we found out later on. But all this.
And that didn't matter. Did they have the option of being a
Those I don't think had an option because that was done first before even anything happened.
They wanted to purge anybody.
That's right. Anybody that was educated, they had to be purged right away, you know. They left, amazingly enough, they left the parish priest alone, the church. I think they were afraid that they might stir up too much trouble, you know, if they marked all the people that if they stopped up. And, you know, Germany was Catholic to a point, you know, and they didn't, you know, so they left the church kind of alone. Unless you started saying something, you didn't do what they, then you know, it's, that's so. But so they picked up all these people. They were picked up within the first 2 weeks. That's it. Bang, bang, bang. That's it. I know. I don't know, this math teacher that I was talking, Gowinski, he had a daughter and a son, and the kid was pretty, you know, they were in 7th grade, or they would say, educated because they were going to college by that time. I think that they were sooner, yeah. And they were picked him up. The whole thing was picked up. Everyone. They probably died. Never heard of them anymore. You know. And what they used to do, apparently, from what they used to do, they would beat them over the kidneys. Somehow, I don't know with what, but they used to knock their kidneys. I don't know what happens to you when you hit on the
lacerate
kidneys.
them.
Yeah, I guess so. They used to kill them, and they wouldn't survive. 2 days or 3 days, and that's, you know. So
when they first came in, they did that.
Yes, that was right away.
Then there was a period of time where they left you alone.
Yeah. Then you came to signing up, you know, because they cleaned up all the ones that they were afraid of, that might stir up problem because they're some uprising or something like that. They kind of knew. And what biggest thing was that the neighborhood in town, being not too big, everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody, you know, so and there was German families.
Thanks, man.
And so they knew everybody, and they had a list made out ahead of time, massive, before they knew who's who did what, you know. So to this pointing out to who's
they would self-report.
They would point out who has to be taken. You know, they would do that right away, and they would point to these people, and because everybody knew everybody. That was the problem, you know. So once we signed.
How old were you then?
I was, 39. I was 14. 14. I had 1 more year to go in grammar school.
You were 12 and 39, weren't you? What? 25 you were born, or 27?
25.
Oh, so you were 14.
Yeah, I had to finish my 7th grade yet, 7 years. But it was that I never finished in Polish anymore because the Germans took me. So I had to go to German school. And we didn't learn much there at all except German language.
Was it the same building?
Same building. Oh,
they just put their own teachers in there?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the other teachers that were there were gone.
Hauled off. There was different teachers altogether.
So was it propaganda they were?
No, not that so much propaganda was not. I don't remember propaganda. You know, just were being taught language and some subjects. You know, but. Mostly everything was in German naturally, so it was starting from scratch, the basics, you know, and this is it.
Yeah.
So, but that 1 year I had to finish that way.
So that was 7th grade?
7th grade, yes.
Okay.
So that's how I finished my 7th grade, you know. That was a grammar school, you know.
Right.
And that was my schooling, you know.
And that was it for you?
Yeah, for me it was it, because then all I was doing, it's like, you know, helping with working with my father and doing this and that, you know, doing different things. And once we signed,